After this paragraph, we'll create a table. The text box we have added, in that we can write a class for margin, class name M3 or maybe M2, you can add anything. Fine. For button also we can add M2 plus. Little gap will get applied from all the side. Now below we will create a place to display the data. So for that, follow a table. Class name. T-head. PR. Class name. PG-light. TH. Broken left. After that, hello. Yes, tell me. Yes, hello. I can hear. Go ahead. Okay. Next TH. Book name. Next will be TH. Call action. Action. Before table, we can display one paragraph. Inside the paragraph, we can write total books. Yes, hello. कौन कर रहे हैं? हाँ, कौन सा बच्चे? नाम क्या है? कहाँ से देखते हैं? एजुकेशन क्या है? Okay, so let me check now. So it's look like this. Now here data will, whichever the data will fill here, this data will go to the Redux store, and from there it will come and display here. When we fill the data and click on submit button. So from here, user will click here, that is called as action. User click will happen, that is called as action. Now based on this action, one request will dispatch to reducer, and reducer will store under the store, and then here will fetch from the store. That we are going to discuss how that work. Now come to next part, next page. Next page also we can take this container to container, we can copy and we can add their other number of fields. Copy, come to the next file called user.js, user.js. In user.js, container to container, we can replace here and after that we can add inside user management using Redux. Here we have to enter the, we'll keep only text box with the placeholder. The first text box, placeholder equal to book name. Second text box, price. Third text box, author. Save user. Oh, this is user. Then why we are taking the book name? We should take here name only. Name, then mobile number. Name, then mobile. After that, age, and then save user. Then after that, total users. User ID or maybe user index. Full name. Next is called mobile number. Next is called age. Next is called action again. So this is for the which component? This is for the user. Okay, so hope ready. Now check how it look. User page look like this. Save user. Now this data again will go to the store only, and from there it will come back. So hope user page is ready or something else. Next, we have to create the next file that is called API page. In API, so these are the view file. What you are creating as of now, this is called view file. View file. In this, whatever the data will enter, this data will not be stored under this component. This data will go to the reducer. For every component, we have created one reducer. Book reducer, user reducer, API reducer. Now reducer will be responsible to control, manage, store the data of each component. Okay, we will not store under the state. State is not going to come here directly under the component. State will come, but in different concept. Now we'll copy the same content and we will come to the next component that is called API.js. Copy the division to division and we'll go to the API.js file. Okay, ready? Copy that. Come to the API.js file. In API.js file, we need to add the same content again. In API.js file, we will store the same content. Inside that, keep here API data management using Redux. This button is not required. You can remove the text boxes is not needed. We can delete that. And we can write here call the button call get car list. Next, after that, create one more button. That button will be send car list to M2. We can put here call success. Send car list to Redux store. Redux store. Send car list to Redux store. Total cars. Right. What are the we have here? You can keep again call index model here. Model then price. Fuel type, then mileage. Fuel type and then mileage. Okay, hope ready third list as well. API data. See, one place we'll learn like using Redux, how the React will communicate based on single dimensional array in one page. In second page, we'll learn using Redux, like your React, how it will communicate with the Redux based on multi-dimensional array. Another place we'll learn bring the data from the backend and give to Redux. And after giving to Redux, how the Redux will help you to get the data and available data everywhere. Next file we have this one called API data. So in API data, all data, not API data, all data. In all data, we need to display the book list also, user list also, and this one also. Which one? API data. Means concept will be, what will be the concept? You will store the data under the book file, book component. You will store the data under the user component. You will store the data, you will bring the data from the API using user API component. And finally, this all the data will not store in different places. This all the data will go to the central place. That is called a store of Redux. And from a store of the Redux, we can fetch and we can display in this page. Then we can say, yes, all the components are able to share the data within the project from the central resource. So now in this component, which component? All data component. First, you will bring the everything from book.js file. Take everything and paste under the book.js file. Now from the book. Okay, so let me ask first, the API file you have modified. Your API file look like this. API file look like this. If design is ready, then only mind will execute to apply the functionality. Okay, if design is ready, then mind will execute to apply the functionality. So let's go ahead next. Okay, so we'll come to the file called book.js. Container to container you copy and paste there. Container to container you can copy and paste under the all data.js file. All data.js file. Exact complete A to Z you copy and paste here. Okay. A to Z you copy inside the return and paste here. Okay, so here saving part will not come. You will delete the save functionality. Save is not required, delete that. Because in this file only listing will happen. Deleting will not happen, plus your save will not happen. So you will delete this much. Keep only listing part. In the first row, keep only listing part. In this row, you can write MB, MB4 or 5. Okay, got it. In all data.js file, what is happening now? It shows only the first section, book details. Now in the user file also we have this listing part that we need to keep here under the on page. So after doing the modification in all data.js file, okay, now come to the again user.js file. From user.js file, you will not copy everything, copy only row to row. Row to row you can copy. Row to row we can copy from here. Row to row you copied. After doing that, come to the all data.js file. After this row, you need to paste. After this row, we need to paste that. And paragraph is not required. You can remove that saving part and you can delete the listing part. Saving part and listing part, delete both section. Okay. Then both the will come. This is the book list and this is the user list. Now again one more we have that also we can bring and paste here. Which one? API. In API.js you have written row to row. Row to row. You can copy and again paste there. Row to row completely. Row to row. The starting of the row to end of the row. Start of the row to end of the row, we can copy and paste here. Then this buttons you don't need, you can remove the button. Button is not needed. We can remove that button. Only listing part you keep. So concept is what? Redux concept is store the data one place and access throughout the project wherever you want. Okay, that only we are doing. We have created three components to capture the input from user, display there, delete there, do all the operation. And we created one central place where we are going to display all the data. That meaning finally, when the user will fill the form, from all the component data will go to one place. And then from that place, we can fetch and display everywhere. Now you can see API data will also come here. Three components. So when you fill the data under the book, when you fill the data under the user, when you fill the data under the API, those all content will be visible here. And along with that, it will be visible under the all data also. Without any property, without any API, without any local storage, session storage, based on Redux functionality. Now H2 is look like bigger for me. I'll convert into H4. Check now, your pages are loading or not. All the pages are ready. Design part. Okay, fine. If the pages are designs are ready, now we need to work on the reducer pages. How many reducer we have created? We have total 3 reducer, 1 reducer for 1 component. See what is the role of the reducer? The role of the reducer will be in the Redux. You will do the input and output under the component, but the data management will happen by reducer. How reducer work? Reducer work like suppose if you take the example of normal in day-to-day life, suppose if you go to a shop, okay? Once you go to a shop, then every shop will have at least minimum 1 person. One shopkeeper will be there. When we go to the shop, as a customer, you cannot go directly, take the product and come out. As a customer, when you go inside the shop, you have to talk to whom? Shopkeeper. You have to give your request to the shopkeeper. Now shopkeeper is responsible to go and bring one product from the rack and give you and create a bill. And once the bill will get created from the store, one product will be minus. That is whose responsibility? Shopkeeper responsibility. Okay. Now here in Redux, there is a 4 concept that is the main point of Redux. One is called a store. Now suppose I enter any book name here and click on save button. So usually earlier we have seen in the Redux React, we used to store this data under the state, this dot set state or use state we have followed. Using that we were storing this data under the state. Now Redux says like if you store your data under the state, if you store your data under the state of a component, and when you go from one component to other component, your component will lose the state. Once you come back, you cannot see the data. Okay, but our requirement, the Redux is like, if your component is losing the state, then I will help you out. Why your component is losing the state? Because your component is storing the data in a state, and once you change the component from one place to other place, your component will be confused what I was holding and what I have. Okay, until unless the data will not come from API, your component cannot display anything, because once the state will get changed, once the component will get redirect from one page to other page, then state data you will lose it. Redux came for that solution only. Once we change the component, once you go from one component to other component, Redux will say, I will not lose your data. Reason is what? Your data is not going to store under the state. State of data will store under the state only, but not inside the component. It will be stored outside of the component. And for that, what we have a separate library of JavaScript. That library name is called Redux. Redux is like, suppose in your project there is one page
So for that page, you have to save the data, you have to list the data, you have to delete the data, you have to do many more things. So for one page in the sense one component, for one page, you have to create one reducer. What is that? Suppose you have one shop. So in one shop, minimum one shopkeeper should be there. For what purpose? To maintain the data, to handle the customer, to handle the request, take the request and give the response. But at last, in shop, material will come from where? Product will come from where? Go down. Suppose one company have 10 shops in Bangalore. All the 10 shops, they have only few products. They will not keep all the product inside the shop. All the product will be where? Under the go down somewhere, right? Somewhere a store will be there. Inside the store, all the product will be there. Now one shopkeeper who is sitting in one shop, he is responsible to maintain the data, right? Of which shop? Current shop. He will not maintain the data of other shop. But indirectly, both the shop will bring the data from where? A store only. Now suppose from one shop, one product is sold out. So what will happen? It is the responsibility of the shopkeeper to update under the store, saying like, yes, one product I sold out. Now what will happen? Next shopkeeper will go and he will take an order. He will look into the store. How many product I have? He will look into the store. He will come to know I have total 5 product only. I can take only how many requests? 5 requests. Okay. He is taking the request. Before that, 2 more product got sold out. So what will happen? He will take again how many requests? Only 3 requests. Okay. Your Redux is going to work exactly same. Redux is not such a hi-fi functionality. It is going to just maintain your data out of the React. It will not store your data under the React. It will store the data out of the React. Okay. And that concept is called as a store. That concept is called as a store. Okay. Now there is the 4 concepts are there. One is called view. Whatever the output is coming in front of us, this is called a view. User will come. User will click on button. So that is called as what? Action. Action. User will click on a button. That is called action. So where the user is clicked, not inside the store directly. User click under the view. So user interaction will happen in the view. That is called as a what? Action. Okay. After that, once click will happen here, then suppose I have entered here called PHP as a name of the book. So on the basis of this action, as soon as click will happen, from here, one request will go to somewhere, not a store directly. Yeah, it will go a store only. Okay, let's assume. So once we click here, from here, the request will go. What request will go? Request will go like when you order a product from the Flipkart, right? When you order a product from the Flipkart, they will keep updating. Your order is placed, product is packed, product is dispatched, and after that delivered, right? So in the React, we have a concept of action. When the user clicks somewhere, that is called a action. Now after clicking this product, the book name, whatever we have entered, we have to send somewhere, then only it will store. Now from the view file, we are going to send this product to where? A store. So that is called what? Sending the data. From where to where? View to a store. So that is called a dispatch. From where to where? From the view to a store. So when the data will get transferred from the view to a store, that word is called as a dispatch. So the meaning of, if we use the dispatch word in the normal day-to-day life, we can say just sending. Sending is nothing but as a dispatch. Means your product is started going from here. At any moment it can reach you. That is called as what? Dispatched. So the first term we have in the React, that is called action. User will click, that is called as a action. Based on action, request will be dispatched. From where to where? From the view to a store. Now suppose once the request will go to the store, how many component we have now? Total 3 type of component we have. So how many type of request will go to the store? three type of request. One request will go where only single dimensional array. Another request will go where multi-dimensional array. Another request will go where there will be bulk data. 100, 200, nested array. It can be anything. Okay. Now, inside the store, there will be three persons. One person will be expertise to handle the single dimensional array. Another person will be expertise to handle the multi-dimensional array. And another person will be expertise to handle which one? The bulk data. Exact same, suppose you go to a showroom. Inside the showroom, there is suppose 10 type of vehicle are there. So each vehicle will be explained by different person. Or maybe you went to a shop where lot of products are there. Everyone is not expertise about each product. When we go at the beginning only, someone will ask, maybe salesman will ask, what do you want, sir? He will say laptop. He will say, go to left side. Once you go to the left side, 2-3% will be there. They will be expertise within the laptop area only. They will be explaining you only laptop. Once you go to the shop, as soon as we enter, salesman will ask, what you want, sir? Will say AC. He will go to the second floor. Now in the second floor, the person is sitting. He is only expertise to handle the AC product. That meaning, when the shop owner has hired these people, after hiring, they have trained them regarding what? Laptop, regarding AC, regarding particular product, they have trained them. Now those persons are expertise in handle the particular type of request only. Now coming to the React. When we send a request from here, when we will send the request from user page, when we send the request from the API page, correct? When we click on this button, what will happen? Request will go. Means action will be dispatched. To whom? To the store. As soon as your request will get dispatched to the store, inside the store, there is a different type of reducers are available. One reducer is responsible to handle the book data. Another reducer is responsible the user data. Another reducer is responsible to handle the API data. Now we have to convince to the reducer. That meaning we have to train to our salesman saying like, once the request will come, how to handle that. Okay. So when the request will go to the book reducer, we have to write the logic inside the book reducer. If request come like this, you have to do this task. If request come like this, you have to do this task. If request come like this, you have to do this task. And at last, all reducer are sitting where? Means all the salesmen are sitting where? Under the shop, maybe under the store. Now what they will do is, suppose one person sold out a product. What he will do? As soon as the product will get sold, it has to minus from the store. That meaning the reducer is responsible to take the request. Once the dispatch will happen, action will be dispatched. Under the action, some kind of request will come. Reducer will open the action, open the request, and they will understand, oh, I have to do this work. That meaning reducer is going to understand like, yes, I need to add the record inside the store, or I need to delete the record from the store, or I need to update the record under the store. So how many words came in the mind? Action meaning is what? The type of interaction. Dispatch meaning is what? Sending the data from the component to a store. The reducer meaning is what? Responsible to manage the data, maybe saving, listing, editing, deleting. Listing is not managed by reducer, but indirectly reducer only managed. Okay, so saving the data, listing the data, deleting the data will be responsibility of reducer. Next word is called as a store. A store meaning just like as a godown, where all the data will be stored one place. Okay. Then a store manage the data on which technique? A store also store the data under the state only. A store also maintain the data under the state itself. A store never maintain the data under the database. A store maintain the data under the state. But a store is the central resource where all the component can send the request at one place. Suppose book is sending the data to a store. User is sending the data to a store. API is sending the data to a store. So user has no any data. Book has no any data. API will not have any data. Data will be where? Under the store. Now suppose book has sent his data to a store. User has sent the data to a store. We have another page that is called all data. This component need all the content of book also, user also, and API also. So where this component will go? This component will go to the store. And in a store, there will be how many reducer? 3 reducer. It will ask each reducer, please give me the data. So what will happen? Book will give the book list, user will give the user list, and then API will give the API list. Finally, you will not have to use anywhere called props. You will not have to use any kind of passing the data from URL from one page to other page. Directly go to the store and ask the store manager to give me the data. Right? That is the concept of which one? Redux. The main principle of Redux is Redux maintain the data in one place. Excellent. Hello. Yes, tell me. Okay. You can call at come again. No, madam, no option. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so the principle of Redux is Redux maintain the data one place, that is called as a store. In your project, how many components you have, no matter, all the data will go to the one place, and that place is called as a store. Okay. Now who will handle the data? For each component, there will be one separate reducer. Like in the shop, for each product, there will be separate salesman who will be maintaining the particular product. Similar way in the React, for each component, there will be separate reducer. In your project, suppose you have the multiple reducer. Multiple reducer will come when if there is a multiple project, multiple pages in a component. Sorry, multiple pages in one project. If multiple pages are there, multiple components are there, one reducer will not handle all the data. So what we have to do? We have to create a separate reducer. When the separate reducer will come, number of reducer will get increased. When the number of reducer will get increased, then there will be concept of combined reducer. Multiple reducer will combine together and send to a store. So what will happen? In a store, entry will happen only one time, but multiple reducer will be inside. Okay. How to do that one? Let's see. So how many words came in the mind? Action is nothing but type of interaction. Dispatch is nothing but sending the data from the view to a store. Third one, a reducer is nothing but those program that manage the data of a component inside the store. Now next is what? A store. A store meaning is what? A centralized resource where all the data of the project will be stored in a state. Okay. What else? Nothing else. 4 words if you remember, easily you can convince the people in interview. People ask in interview related to Redux, only 4 words. What is the Redux? How it works? What is the action? What is the reducer? What is the state? And what is the store? Okay. More level they will go. They may ask what is the combined reducer? How you use that? Okay. If you are able to explain this one smoothly, then internet word definition don't use. That will put in the dangerous. Okay. Like suppose if I say what is the action? What is the action? Internet definition will be something else. Ab check kar lijiye. If anyone asks what is the action, in the simple way you answer them. The type of user interaction with the UI is called as a action. Okay. Dispatch meaning is what? Sending the data from where to where? From the view to a store. Sending the data from one location to other location. That is called as a dispatch. Reducer meaning is what? Kind of a manager who maintain all the data of a component. A store meaning is what? A centralized resource where we maintain all the data. We store all the data. People may ask in a store which technique we follow. We can say in a store we follow the state only. We store all the data under the state but separate, not within the component, out of the component, and that area is called as a store. तो यही सारा चीज वहां पे वेबसाइट में हमने यूआरएल दिया है ना एक, उसमें वही चीज लिखा हुआ है. Little difficult technical words are there. Okay. Now come, we'll work on the store part, not a store part, reducer part. Okay. So we'll start from one reducer. Let's open the file call. Open the file call. Which file? Reducer, we can go directly and open the first reducer, that is called book reducer. Okay, in book reducer, 2 line of code we will write. Let me see where is that line. I'll get it from some other place. Okay, so this only 2 lines of 1 minute. I will modify that and then you can use it. I will also share in the chat. We don't need much line, only 1 line is required. This all are not needed. In that we'll discuss what is that state, why we are using that, what is the meaning of object.assign. So let me share you this line. So I will be sharing this line in the chat. Please quickly. This function only 1 line is extra here, object.assign. Okay, hope ready. This which page? Book reducer. Copy the same thing and go to the other reducer, that is called user reducer, and we'll paste here and we'll change the function name. Instead of book list, we can keep as a user list.
user list. Here also user list. User list. Now go to the again next file. That is called which one? API reducer. Inside also we can write API list. API list. API list. Here also we can add again. Okay. Ready? Next, after that, which is we have main. So you have total one API reducer, book reducer, and then another one is called user reducer. We have one more called main reducer. Main reducer will be the combination of all the reducer. So come to the main reducer now. Inside the main reducer, we have to import a combined reducer. And after that, we can combine all three. 8 minute, where is that reducer? Main reducer. So go here, import combined reducers. Import COMBINE combine reduce CERS combined reducers from Redux. Redux. After that, we have other reducer that is called import. Import we have called user list. User list from / user reducer. Import here. Next we have called import book list from / book reducer. Next we have import what else? API reducer, API list from /API reducer. After that, if one reducer, then no need of combined reducer, because inside the project we have multiple components, and for each component we have to maintain the data. For that we have to create a separate reducer. When you have multiple reducer concept, then you cannot send individual reducer to a store. You have to combine all reducer together, and main reducer will go to the store. So when the main reducer will go to the store, it will carry along with the user list, book list, and API list. So right here const main reducer, main reducer
equal to combine reducers. Under the combined reducer, in the form of array, we have to send all. One is called user list. Next is called book list, and next is called API list. This all we have to send from here, and finally export default FA default main reducer. So main reducer is the combination of how many reducer? 3 reducer. Main reducer becomes the combination of 3 reducer. Right? So reducer will be working where? Inside the shop or outside of the shop? Salesman will work inside the shop only, no? Now what we did, we taken the 3 salesman, 3 reducer, and we combine all 3 reducer together, and we are going to ask all 3 reducer to go inside the store. That meaning the reducer is created, all the reducer got linked with one reducer, that is main reducer. Main reducer is a combination of 3 reducer. Now main reducer we have to send to the store. So once the main reducer will go to the store, indirectly how many reducer will go? 3 reducer. Main reducer is a combination of 3 reducer. Okay, now come to your store file. Inside the store you have to import create a store. Import create a store, CREA, create a store from Redux. After that, come down below, import main reducer from reducer.js file. After that, come down below, write a const my store equal to create a store. Under create a store, you have to send the main reducer. So inside the store, we send as a 3 reducer. That meaning main reducer. That meaning indirectly we are sending as a 3 reducer. Next, export default my store. My store is holding what at last? My store is holding the main reducer. Main reducer is holding the 3 reducer, and each reducer is responsible to deal with one type of component, one type of data. Correct? Check now. You wrote till here. If yes, no will come, I will write the next line. Okay, next after that, come to the index.js file. In index.js file, you have to import the store now. Import the store in index.js file. Import my store from where? Store.js file. From store.js file and import one more. Import providers. Providers. Providers from React Redux. From React-Redux. Now a store you have to give to the provider. A store you have to give to the provider. Right here, any error or no error? Check once. Provider will be under the, this one will be under the my store and provider. Import both. Ready? Next, after that, your all code will remain same. Don't modify anything. Just app, how it will be, a small modification is required. Okay, so suppose wherever the app is calling, your code might be little different. Wherever the app is calling, before app is calling somewhere. Before app, open the provider. Before app, open the provider providers and close the providers after the app. Close the provider after the app. Just organize this properly first. Wherever the app is calling, just before app, open the provider and close the provider. Before app, open the provider and close the provider. App will be the part of providers. And inside the provider, you will send as a property. You will send as a property a store equal to my store. A store equal to my store. Under the app will be the part of provider, and under the provider, a store will go as a my store. This much means if no error, then your Redux is set up properly. Next, we need to communicate with the action and reducer and store, and then data will come and go with you. Okay, added. Now look into the browser. Any error? Providers is not exported from the React Redux. What I did here? PROVIDERS from, spelling is wrong. Provider. Okay. हेलो, हाँ नहीं है। 2 मिनट में करते हैं, 2 मिनट में। Okay, provider. Now let us see. Provider is also working on it. Okay, so provider is working. So provider work like is a area manager. Okay, provider work like is a area manager. In one area, multiple shops. Correct? What you did now? See, if we link that, you have multiple component. For each component, one reducer. All reducer all combined together, gone to the store. Correct? And all the store went to where? Under the all, not all store, one store. For one project, one store. And one store is being taken care by whom? Providers. Okay. Now, if error is not there, then we will sit on next day and we will make the flow of data. How to, while after entering the value, button click will happen. When the action will fire, how to send the data to reducer, and from reducer, how it will go to the where? Store. Dispatch will come, and after that use selector will come. Dispatch is the function that is called use dispatch. Use dispatch function will help you to send the data to a store, and use selector function will help you to bring the data from a store. Okay, use selector and use dispatch. Using use dispatch, we can send the data to the store, and inside the store, who will be there? Reducer will be there. And again, whenever we require the data, using use selector, we will bring the data from the store. But at last, your data will be handled by your reducer only. Use selector or use dispatch cannot send the data directly to a store. It will send to a store only, but inside the store, data will be captured by your reducer. When you want to give the data, you have to give to reducer. When you want to fetch the data, you have to fetch from the reducer, but it will be under the area of store. Okay, so that we will see. Tomorrow we have project class, but what time to log in? That is only I'm thinking 1 hour we need to sit. Means some pending part we have. We should sit tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Okay, I will update you in the group today by evening somewhere, and then accordingly we'll plan it. Okay, so let's see. Tomorrow project will be there, or in case if there is some homework, in case if not happening tomorrow, then day after tomorrow we'll sit in the morning.